Hi everyone, I'm Ian Lynch. I'm a proud member of the Canadian Kennel Club, and today I'm thrilled to be speaking with Joey Nattrass. Joey Nattrass is 98 years young, and Joey, you have been a member of the Canadian Kennel Club for 75 years. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And tell us, how did you get involved with dogs? Did you have dogs as a kid? Did you get a dog as a young adult? How did you get involved in this wild world?
I was born into it. My parents had chows before I was born, and I was born into a family of chows, and I grew up with them. So it was a natural transition for me to bring one to Canada when I came.
And what country did you immigrate from?
England.
England. So you had Chow Chows, your parents had Chow Chows. Now, if you go back, way back, the Chow Chow was a very new breed to Canada at the time. The Chow Chow was actually exhibited in zoos back in the day because they were so interesting to people, weren't they? And they just thought these were the most fascinating dogs they had seen. Now, the Chow Chow was, and I read this thanks to your beautiful article you put together, the Chow Chow was brought to Canada by Billy Bishop, who was a World War veteran.
That's right, yes, after the First World War.
So when you came to Canada, did you bring chows with you or did you acquire chows in Canada?
I shipped a chow ahead of me, my pet, and she came to Canada ahead of me. My husband had been repatriated by the army ahead of me. And so, yeah, the chow came and then I came.
The chow was waiting for you when you got here. That's so lovely.
Yes.
And did you go on to breed and show Chow Chows?
Yes, I did. I bred, I showed them. I was into grooming. I also judged, and I also ran dog shows.
Wow. What was your local kennel club that you were a part of?
Well, originally it was the Progressive, which is no longer in existence. And it was members of the Progressive that said I should join the Canadian Kennel Club.
Yes.
And when I did, Canadian Kennel Club was situated on Yonge Street in a small office. And there was Norman Brown was the secretary treasurer.
Wow, that's fascinating. Why, now your parents bred Chow Chows. Why Chow Chows for you? What did you like about the Chow Chow breed? What do you still like about the Chow Chow breed? What appeals to you about them?
Their temperament. They're very devoted to the family. They're just a very special dog to me. And there just never was any question of me having any other breed or showing any other breed. And
they were just yours.
Yeah, I helped form a club, and I'm still a member. I'm still a member of 2 chow clubs. I'm still active within the club. I still participate. Yeah, so it's been a long, good journey with many, many different phases in it.
It's so wonderful to hear that you're still involved and still active in the dog world. Can you remember back when you joined the Canadian Kennel Club, do you remember how many breeds were recognized? Because now we have about just under 200 breeds recognized.
No, I don't remember, but it wasn't very many.
No, not very many at that time. And it's grown so much. And we recognize so many different purebred dogs here in Canada. It's really wonderful. And you were saying, Joey, that you were involved in showing and grooming, and then later you became a dog show judge, which must have been so great. Do you have any memorable or most exciting moments in dogs that you can think of, and moments that always stand out to you?
Yes, 2, both with chows. One was taken Best in Show all breeds with a chow, and it was the first time a chow had won Best in Show for nearly 20 years in Canada.
Wow.
And that was a big thrill. And the other was my homebred little bitch took Best Puppy in Show, and it was a very first for the chow breed.
To win a Best Puppy in Show?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, and so that they were two very big wings for me and big achievements for the breed.
Absolutely. I was going to ask if you had, of all the chows you've owned in your life, are there any that stand out as well? And maybe they are the same chows that you won the best in show for the first time in 20 years with, or maybe it's your little bitch that you won the best puppy in show. But is there one or two dogs that stand out to you in your memory of your great chows, and why?
Yeah, that puppy,
Yeah.
she didn't produce, but she became like a traveling companion. People who had lost a dog, or in one case lost a baby, I sent her out to keep the woman company, and she became a great companion. And then when the woman had recovered from the loss of her child, back came my little bitch.
Yeah.
And she went on to somebody else. She stayed with me until she was needed somewhere else. And that's how she spent her life. She went from home to home, giving comfort and sympathy. She was quite amazing. And the other one was a male that actually my husband owned. And he was a fantastic stud dog and a great clown. He wouldn't come out of the kennel without his toy. In the morning when I let them out, he'd come running out and the toy would be in his mouth and he'd have to be greeted and fussed over, and then the toy would be dropped.
Oh,
But he came out every morning with this toy bear in his mouth. Yeah, he was quite a character.
and Joey, what was your kennel name?
Chai Kwong.
How many years were you active in breeding for?
Oh, my goodness. About 25 years.
25 years. And how long were you a dog judge for?
Oh, I was first a judge for Group 6 because that was the group I showed in. Talking of judges, there was quite a unique thing. Judges in Canada at one time had to be questioned by a panel of their peers before their license was granted. And I had the privilege of sitting on that panel for several judges. And it was very interesting.
So you couldn't move up to being a judge unless you had the support of your peers in the sport?
It was part of your training process that you came before a panel of your peers and you were asked questions on the breeds you wanted to judge.
Oh, so you would be like quizzing them about the breeds they were interested in getting?
Yes.
Wow, I did not know that. That's very interesting, very fascinating. Now, Joey, you've been involved with dogs for your entire life, and you've been a member of the Canadian Kennel Club for 75 years. Is there any bit of advice or wisdom you would like to pass on to the new generation of dog people just coming into the sport, just starting breeding and showing and maybe even judging?
Oh my. I think you have to keep a very open mind. You have to be true to yourself and your beliefs. I don't think you should rush into doing anything, be it breeding, showing, or judging. I think you should take your time. I think this is what's happened. So many of our judges have kind of rushed things, and the system allows them to do this. I don't think that's good. I think, particularly with judging, you need to have a good depth of knowledge from older breeders and older judges who mentor you I think that's very important. I think it's important to be very friendly and helpful to your other exhibitors. I'm not sure there's as much of helping goes on now as it used to when I was showing. There was a lot of help out there. We would sit, well, of course, you had to stay at the show all day.
Yeah.
You went first thing in the morning and you couldn't leave until, oh, sometimes it was 9 o'clock at night before you were free to go. So what did you do during those hours? You sat and talked to people who had knowledge, be they judges or other exhibitors, and not always in your own breed. It was more versatile. And we would have judges that lived in Toronto. We had a lot of good judges living in Toronto who would take the time at the end. They would be showing, and then whilst we were waiting, we would gather, because it was all bench shows, we would gather and have chats, and it was amazing the amount of knowledge that was out there, and they were willing to share with us.
That's wonderful. I love hearing that and hearing those wonderful memories. And it is important to talk to people who know more than you do, and to never assume that, you know, as a young dog person, you know it all, because nobody in the dog show world knows it all. Nobody in the dog world knows it all. We're all hopefully learning from each other and learning as best we can from one another.
Right.
And I'm learning from you today. So I want to say thank you very much, Joey Nattrass, 75-year member of the Canadian Kennel Club. It's been a real honor to talk to you. And it's great to hear that the dog world has served you so well throughout your life, and that you're still active in the dog world. It really is wonderful to hear, and you're an inspiration. Thank you so much.
Thank you.